My upbringing was very much within the church. My dad was a missionary in the Methodist Church before, and our life was very much in the church area, and music was much part of it. My dad was a choir man, and during church services, he also plays the piano. So I was brought up within music circles since I was young. And up to when I went to high school, in high school, when I was in grade 8, I played in the school band with a couple of other teachers. And music was very much part of my life at that time. Even when I was in school. Even though I was in the school band, we played in clubs in town, and in Rabaul Town especially, because there were a couple of teachers with us in the school band. And I can remember at that time the band was called Pacific Vibration. Now at that time, band music was becoming an in thing for young people. And I was very much part of that circle. But then again, study was important. So after grade 10, I went to Malabanga High School, and after grade 10, I was very much part of. I enjoyed drama work and whatever. So after grade 10, I did a year at the National Art School here in Mosby, and the year after that, I was given a scholarship by the Cultural Commission, and I went and studied at NIDA in Sydney for another year. That was in 1975, during independence. Independence, I was in Australia. I didn't see it here, but I knew that there were things happening, and television then down in Australia was black and white too. So, and anyway, studying in Australia at night at the National Institute of Dramatic Art. It's a school. I actually went to school with what was his name? One of the actors. I forgot his name now, but anyway.
Mel Gibson.
Mel
Gibson.
Yes, we were in the same class, kind of thing. And I was together with William Takaku, if you remember him.
Yes, famous.
So we were the two that were there. And I came back, the year after that I came back, I went to Goroka. For some reason I didn't want to stay on in Australia, even though I was given an opportunity to stay there. So I made arrangements and went to Goroka instead, Goroka Teachers College. And it was under UPNG at that time. So I was there. In Goroka, while we were studying, we were also playing, me and some other boys who were just playing band some weekends not all weekends, but some weekends. And it continued. After I left Goroka Teachers College in '77, I went back to Rabaul to teach at Boyson High School. That was when Barike was not part of that yet, but I was playing with some other voices, bands from the village, and also from Kokopo, some of my schoolmates. We were playing together. My first year at Boyson, second year, and this is the year after that, '81, I think, I went to Karawat National High School to teach. At Karawat National High School, I was teaching in the expressive arts department, art and so on. But like I said, in Goroka, there was, when I was there was those two plays that we did, and we took it to Lay and here, Port Moresby, at the Lloyd Robson Oval, where it was now. Now it's Santos or whatever they call it.
Yes, Santos Stadium.
Yes, and then we, when I left, those two plays were important for me because it exposed a bit more into music and whatever. At Karawat National High School, then the story of Barike starts. Shall I continue?
Yes. Can you take us back to the early days of Barike?
Sure.
How did you start?
Okay. When I was at Karawat National High School,
It was in 1981?
that was in 1981, I was teaching in the expressive arts department, and music was part of it. So they went together, music and drama. One day I was in my house at the school, and John Wong turned up. John Wong, he turned up and asked me, the thing with John Wong and Glen Low and the rest of the band boys, they went to Rabaul High School. At the time I was at Bangabanga High School, and I was playing in the school band, like I said before, and they were playing in other bands also while at Rabaul High School. So we kind of knew each other then, but never met them properly at that time. But we knew each other, and when I went to Karawat, suddenly John Wong turned up. And he said, yeah, we want to start a band, but...
You came to, John Wong came
Yes.
looking for you.
Yes.
Yeah, in 1981,
Yeah.
right?
That was in around June. It was 1981. He came and asked. He said to me, "Hey, what? You're just here at school, then you're not playing in a band or anything?" No. Well, we want to start a band, and you're one of the ones that we wanted to ask to become a member of the band. I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Yeah, not a problem." So I went and joined them, John Wong, Glen Low. There was 3 of us at the time.
Fabian?
Fabian not yet.
Don Lessy?
Don Lessy not yet. So there was only 4 of us. John Wong, myself, Glen Low, and there was this Kairuku, mixed race Kairuku person that was working in Rabaul at that time. He was our drummer. So there was 4 of us, a 4-piece band. We started playing, but not too long after that, the Kairuku guy had to leave back to Mosby, I think. He was working as a mechanic or something like that. So we looked around and we found Fabian Tadoi. He was a young man, not doing anything, a school dropout, kind of. And so we started playing. Becoming quite popular with nightclubs. So they were doing nothing at that time. The only job was playing in the band. I was a teacher as well. So so that was when Barike started. The name Barike also came up at that time. Barike is actually a slang kind of a thing for young people around Rabaul area. Barike means it's a question kind of a word. Barike. Oh, Barike. You know, and it was just a slang that people, when they're talking, and they said, "Oh, yeah." But the real meaning of Barike really is, I think Barike. So we were looking around for words for the band, and we decided, because it was popular, we decided to call our band Barike. That's in the Kono language. Yeah.
So can you take us back to the early days of Barike? What was it like in those days in Rabaul
Yes.
and Papua New Guinea?
Yes.
I remember growing up at that time, Barike was very popular throughout
Yes.
the whole country.
Yes.
Can you take us back to those days?
Barike was very popular mainly because of the type of song we were playing. Barike really was a band. We wanted it popular with children mainly. The type of songs we sing, the young people enjoyed. One of the first popular songs that we were playing was Yaurabiawi. And that particular song really took us on the waves, you know. And so we thought, oh, okay, so it's popular. Maybe we'll collect a few more songs from that. We collected from various places, and even string bands. One of the important one we did also that became very popular was Ringemawe. Ringemawe, yeah, and that's from West New Britain. it took children were mainly singing it, and we'd come to the Port Moresby show here, and when we played, the children would be singing.
I can imagine.
Yeah, yeah. So that was the popularity of the band became very strong in that area, and also with the music. There were other bands that started and also became popular. Piney Walker and Telek even. He became quite popular to those days. Something with Tolai songs that seemed to be attractive to other parts of Papua New Guinea. But that's what we Barike wanted. We were a Tolai band. We called ourselves Tolais, even though they were. I was the only.
You were the only Tolai.
I was the only Tolai, but the boys grew up in Rabaul, so they said, "Well, we are Tolais as well."
At that point, just come about the upbringing of the other boys.
Yes.
Can you tell us where they were from? Like, for instance, John Wong was from where?
Okay. John Wong is mixed race, Chinese, Kavieng. Glen Low, also mixed race, maybe not too much mixed race, but quarter caste. With some Chinese in Kavieng. Now the other bands, what's his name? Fabian Tadoi. He is also mixed Tolai and Kavieng, kind of. For our second album, our first album, there was only 4 of us. But from the second album onwards, we decided that we needed a lead guitarist, proper lead guitarist. Before that, John Wong was playing lead as well as rhythm and so on and so forth. But in the first album, in the second album, then we got Donald Lessy to come in. Donald Lessy is mixed. He's a quarter caste. He's got some Ambonese blood in him as well. Yeah. His father is a mixed Ambonese, you know. Ambona in Indonesia. Yeah. So Donald Lessy is that. Who else is there? Yeah, and Mia was fully blooded Tolai.
Can you tell us what was the music scene like, especially in Rabaul in those days?
Yes.
Because I remember growing up in Ley that everyone was talking about Rabaul, you know,
Yes.
being the place to be because of
Yes.
all the music and parties and
Yes.
all the girls and everything. What was it like in Rabaul in those early days?
I can say truthfully that Rabaul was, as I call it, Pearl of the Pacific, and it lived up to that name. A small town before the volcano. It was a small town, and everybody knew each other. Crime was not heard of at that time. You could walk for miles in the streets of Rabaul at night, strolling, and there were clubs in Rabaul. Either live band was playing or just music, and that was where we kind of grew up. Like even when I was at high school and playing in the school band, we'd go into town and play. After playing, I would either just walk home to the village at night, of course, with my cousins and whatever. But the the place was at night, especially on weekends, a merry place, very happy, going in the parties and whatever. So, yeah.
So as the first Tolai member of the group, how did you influence Barike's music?
Okay, Barike's music. I come from a village where music is also quite popular, and some of the songs that we play, that Barike play, come from the village. I would get it from the boys in the village. And Uyaura Biawi, that I took that from the village. It was a song that was made popular by, I'm not sure whether it's an American or English band. You're Always on My Mind. That's a song. But only Senisim Golong, Tok Plesna. Basically, what it meant in Kuanua was a song in English. And yeah, so some songs that we were playing, and I was also composing some songs. I'll go to Wan Kantri later on, but at that time, yeah, well, many of the songs we played, we had some influence in it. Tolai had some influence in it. Yeah.
Okay, Barike's music has blended Tolai sounds with contemporary influences. What was the vision behind this fusion?
I guess, if I can say it, it was the sound. The boys were playing around with musical sounds that attractive musical sounds, and so the composing and most of the boys were also composers. John Wong especially was quite good in composing songs. Glen Low, and we try as much as possible to do it with a lot of Tolai influence in it, in our music. Because, like I said, the boys wanted to be Tolais, known as Tolais, and so that's how we started blending songs. Many other songs that we get from other places like West New Britain and so on, are attractive especially to children. So we were kind of a band that's family oriented. We wanted families to enjoy the music, from children up to adults, and that's how we tried to compose our songs and so on during that time. Then we come to the era of Barike. Shall we talk about that now?
Yes.
Now, Barike came at a time when there was a lot of things happening in the country in Papua New Guinea. Bougainville was the one that came out. It's important. And so the song, I didn't play so much part in the song because I was studying back at the university for my law degree. But the music was mine. I had the music, the lyrics and whatever, I didn't take any part in that. It was the boys themselves. But the vision in that song really was trying to put Papua New Guinea, keep Papua New Guinea together at that difficult time with Bogondro.
Can you tell us a bit more about Wan Kantri?
Yeah.
How you put it all together? And
So the boys did that work. They spent a lot of time trying to put that together. I think
you mentioned something about going back to university to do your law degree.
Yeah.
Can you also tell?
Okay.
And tell us about coming back to school, and then
Okay.
and tell us about Wan Kantri.
I said something earlier on about it. I was the only one that was working and so on and so forth. I saw music really, at that time, I saw music really that I didn't have a future in music. So I had to find something else. And teaching was the other way around. And then I enjoyed teaching. And then there was still that urge that I needed to do something a bit more challenging. So my sister, who's Rabi Namalius, why don't you go back to university? I said, yeah, okay, I'll do that. And that was, I had been in the university just a year, 1976, 77, I was at Goroka, and then went teaching, and then I went back to university to do law degree in 86.
86, yeah.
Yeah. I went back to university.
So you stayed there for 4 years?
Yeah. And I had to struggle for 4 years to do it.
Okay.
My law degree.
So you were a full-time student in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only a year before 86, I was there to complete my degree in education.
Okay.
And so the band was kind of secondary to me
Right.
at that time.
Right.
And like I said, I saw music at that time. I didn't have a future, and so I had to find ways to keep earning a salary and so on and so forth. So
Right.
yeah.
So you, while you were at school, you were full-time at UPNG, yeah?
Yes.
And so you left Rabaul?
Yeah, but I was still going back because the boys were doing recordings
Right.
and so on. So I was going some important activities that come up. They would fly me across to play, and back again to university. So,
That particular decade, the 1980s,
yes.
was quite a vibrant period in Papua New Guinea's history.
Yes.
It just fresh from independence and then coming
That's
to
right.
a new decade in the 1980s.
Yes.
The music scene was very hot that time. Barike was right on top.
Yes.
And then suddenly we had the Bougainville crisis.
That's right.
So how did how did you guys play your music during that period, and what were some of the albums that you recorded that time?
Okay. We we were kind of experimenting all the time. In times of hardship in Papua New Guinea, we, like I said, we were mainly hoping that the band would bring people together. Our music would bring people together. Despite the diverse culture that we are in Papua New Guinea, somehow we must keep together as a country. And basically that was the mentality we had at the time. And we were experimenting all the time. What kind of music can pull people together? So some of the compositions that we made ourselves, I was very personal in my compositions. Looking at my background in the church, and especially my upbringing, and so on and so forth. So I tried composing songs related to family life in the village and so on and so forth. But again, it's kind of akin to other parts of Papua New Guinea. Like we tried a variety of songs from many parts of Papua New Guinea, except from this region, I suppose. Yeah.
Can you tell us about the song Wan Kantri and the inspiration for it?
Okay. Like Wan Kantri, we experimented with it. The music was mine. The lyrics was the boys, especially Glen Low, and what inspired it, I suppose, is the situation in Papua New Guinea at the time with the Bougainville problem. But we didn't want to make it really a political song. We wanted to make it a song that would keep Papua New Guineans together, despite the diverse background we had. And that was an experiment that we play walking also by we play can long time will it work. When we were working on the song, eventually they would call me, fly me to Rabaul, and I will go into the studio with the boys. They will play the song, and we listen, change a few words here and there. We want to really make it an important song. The band members at that time now was added upon this Kanai Pineri. He was the one that made the original main vocals, and me and the boys were doing the harmonies on that song. So that was a studio project for Barike Band. But we didn't know it would become popular.
I remember that time that was towards the end of 1991, after the
Yes.
Pacific Games, and
Yes.
the song just took the country by storm.
That's right.
Can you recall what was it like during that period?
What was that program on about music?
Justin Keeley used to
Yeah,
be,
yeah.
I think it was running in the top 20 or something.
Something like that.
Him, but Justin Keeley used to be kind of the music guru of Papua New Guinea at that
So
time.
when that song was released, we knew that it was gonna be a hit because of the way we made sure that it was a unity song kind of thing for the country. And when the program started, that top 20 or whatever they call it started, it just soared up and stayed there for
The whole year.
yeah, exactly.
I remember I was in Leh that time, and after the Pacific Games, and the song came out, it just took the whole country by storm.
And
it just brought together this feeling of togetherness and unity that the politicians couldn't do.
Exactly.
And it was the Barike band. Suddenly they just brought the whole country together.
That's right. That's right. And that's the kind of thing that Barike wanted to get into.
That another very sad occasion, Papua New Guinea history, the Rabaul Town in 1994. Can you reflect back on that?
Before the eruption in 1994, we knew that Rabaul would go up, and we had been composing some songs at that time. We played Look Looky Go, Forward Now, and then the eruption, when it blew up, we were not in Rabaul. Barike was in Goroka show.
September 1994.
Yeah. On the morning we were supposed to fly back to Rabaul. On a Monday morning, we were supposed to fly back to Rabaul. News came about the eruption. Me Bagarap Seret, family. I just bought a new car that was 2 weeks old, and the rest of the other boys, they also had families, but we couldn't fly back to Rabaul. So instead we came here to Mosby. Came to Mosby, did a couple of shows just to fundraise for the disaster in Rabaul. And we stayed an extra week here. I managed to get back to Rabaul because on the Kumul, it was no Rabaul, but in Tokwa. And I had to look for my family when I got there. But my car, my 2 weeks old car, was buried under ash. Longhouse Blooming. It was a minivan. So after another week in Rabaul, we went into town. I managed to find my family down at Woodall somewhere. They were living at the university there. So we went back into Rabaul and we dug my car out. It was fully covered. It was, a van. It was fully covered with ash. play dig, 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 nothing. Pull him out. So for a long time, that was one of the things that we couldn't. The studio where we were working from, Pacific Gold Studios, had to move from Rabaul to Port Moresby. So Barike Band, the studio, and Barike Band moved to Port Moresby.
Personally, tell me your personal feelings about the loss of Rabaul.
I was devastated. I guess I was not the only one. Me talk na me cry. Rabaul was a beautiful place, and we could never get the Rabaul was that once we had. We are hoping that it will one day come back. But personal feeling below me, I wish I could have my Rabaul back, you know. And that was the feeling that every one of us had. Suppose you know Bingat volcano, Bami place up yet? And I know that Barike would probably still be quite strong in music, grow in music. But it didn't for some reason. And you know, the obvious one is the volcano.
From the after the eruption came one of your most famous songs, Rabaul Town. Can you tell me about that?
Again, like I said, Rabaul Town, we expressed our feeling for Rabaul Town, how we felt for Rabaul Town. The Rabaul Town that we once had, no got more. That's what that song tried to portray about our feelings for Rabaul Town.
Okay, we'll come to a bit about music, huh?
Okay.
Okay. Many of Barike's songs carry deep messages about PNG culture and unity and identity. What themes did you focus on the most?
Okay, I guess that's an easy one. Easy one. I think unity, keeping Papua New Guinea together. I mean, who could do that in a country with so diverse, rich in culture and so on, and you try to keep it together as a country, politically, and so on and so forth. So our focus at that time and our feeling was that let us play music that will keep us together as a family. And we use the word family. Hundreds of families in Papua New Guinea, hundreds of cultures, but we are one family. And that's what we wanted to portray to Papua New Guinea. We may have not succeeded in the end, but that was the thinking that we wanted to do. Yeah.
How do you see music as a tool for preserving Papua New Guinea's diverse cultural heritage?
Yes. Only suppose the kind of the band members and many bands in Papua New Guinea, band members are not trained music artists. So we try as much as possible to compose, make compositions, and make music that will pull Papua New Guinea together. I mean, in Rabaul, it was full of Sepiks, Moravians, Highlanders, and as much as possible, we want to keep them together. We were seeing signs of problems that come up, which we are seeing nowadays. Now, long display time is very, very difficult now. There are problems happening. And I see music as the only tool that will keep all these people together. It's succeeding in some ways, but I'm sure there is people who work at this stuff long. Pull Papua New Guinea with that so much diverse culture, all can pass in, you know.
PNG has come a long way since independence in 1975. How do you think music has reflected our nation's journey?
I think in a small way, Papua New Guinea has grown in its music. I say this because the trend in music nowadays is so rapidly grow. People, musicians, all musicians only come. I think a lot of them also only work long, continue long, trying to develop their kind of music. We have not settled on anything yet. My nephew, Matalau Nakikus,
He's a good friend of mine.
is a reggae artist, but he's also deeply a Barike fan and a member of Barike band. And he's passionate about Barike and the kind of music that Barike plays. And he wants to continue that, but he's made a name for himself as a reggae artist. And he's going places now. He's quite successful in the area. But he still wants to continue to help Barike. My son too, Nathan Nakikus. He has his own style of music, but he's still passionate about Barike's music, being a Tolai, I suppose.
Do you still believe PNG artists today still capture the spirit of independence like Barike did in its early years?
I will not say yes, and I will not say no. In a small way, if only PNG musicians could develop the way Barike did and continue to strive that way, I think then we will have some success in that area. Meeting also. But at the moment, suppose you look good long him. Our music grew rapidly. Now plenty man only talk or plastic band about, and, you know, because all you know think good now walking band. With Barike we sat down about our songs and whatever and thought carefully about them. And like I said, we were experimenting a lot. There was an era, I think it was our second album, Team Spiritu. We in the front of the.
Is that the
cassette.
album with the lady? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember that was
That's right.
quite a controversial album because of the cover.
Yes.
I remember back in the 1980s.
I'm now.
We were at high school. Yeah. I bought one of those cassettes too.
Oh, we were hated by everybody.
Yeah.
And all we wanted to do, it was a gimmick kind of thing. We just wanted to, a sales gimmick, more or less. Like I said, this was a second album, and we'll see how it would go. And I was in the soup because I was in school at law school then. And because I come from a religious background,
Yes.
all the women from the village, and they wanted to kill me or something like that, you know. And the sales gimmick, the lady stood, and we surrounded her. So people I not touch him or anything. It was a camera trick, you know, kind of thing. and yeah, but it did the work. It was quite popular. The album.
I bought one of those. I bought one of those cassettes at high school, and I remember all my friends they did.
Yeah.
Okay. As someone who has witnessed Papua New Guinea's growth over the last 5 decades, what are some of the biggest changes you've seen, and what challenges do you think we still need to overcome as a nation?
I think it's a very good question. And somewhat difficult to answer in the sense that a lot of good has evolved around those years, and a lot of bad. And for Papua New Guinea, as diverse as it is, it still needs to work to make the country come together as one people, one nation. Sampla good plus something he come up, but sampla no good something to come up to a country. Where you walk along, make him the country, you know, come up one term good as a nation. That's my personal feeling. Me look him also. Me along islands region. I think MBIEC, long come on them. But we still have other regions that we need to come on them. You see, in Rabaul, for example, nowadays there's more problems than good. You will come up long.
Yeah.
Why is that?
It wasn't there before in your days.
Yeah, it wasn't there nowadays.
70s and 80s. Rabaul was the music capital.
Exactly.
Peaceful place, beautiful.
Now you can't find music anywhere in Rabaul Town. I mean, the volcano had played a big part of it, but by now we would have recovered, and the life before where we were coming would have come back. But noga, you can go bagarap all get again. Yeah, so that's an answer to that question. Very good question.
As we celebrate 50 years of independence, what do you hope to see in PNG's next 50 years?
In the next 50 years, really the best thing that could happen to Papua New Guinea is to come together as one country. Come together as one country. We are not one country at the moment. That's my gut feeling. I want to be able to go in a car and walk from Ley to Makam, up all the way to the highlands, if I could do that, you know. But something bad would happen to me on the way. And like I said, as much as possible, the churches, the government should work together to bring Papua New Guinea into focus as a country.
Looking back on your career with Barike,
Yes.
what has been your most memorable performance or moment?
I only wish that Barike could have done better. I'm sure we could have done better. And I said earlier on a couple of times that we were an experimental band. In the end, we wanted to make Barike become a family band. Family not meaning Mita Solna or band members, no God. Papua New Guinea as a family. That's what we wanted to make. And I guess it was because of the problems that we had with Bougainville, and there were other problems that were happening in the country at the time. And the stories we hear about murder and robberies and so on and so forth in the country, not only in Rabaul, but all the time we wanted to keep Barike as a family band up until now. We may have not been playing for a while, but we still want to continue to become a family band. And it's reflected by the membership of the band at the moment. At this time, all band members, people have died now. But our sons, our children are taking over. And that's how we want to keep it that way. We also want to get into a program which we are working on now. We wanted to call it Barike Band Tingim Life program. And we wanted to play music, earn money, and help the community. Get health assistance, for example. I am a diabetic right now. I am also a kidney patient. I'm staying in Port Moresby. I should be in Rabaul, but I'm staying in Port Moresby because Rabaul doesn't have the machinery that will help me. And in Port Moresby, Assistance is stop. That's all expense belum emen. Hai tu mas. Na pelandi man long place. Only kisim this plastic. Na buy only die nothing that's all. Because they don't have the money to. Me too, we work on feeling pinch. And I'm kind of lucky with my son who rents this place. Only walk now, only walk lo hali with me. Lick. With my condition, they say it's chronic kidney disease, CKD. I have to get treatment 3 days a week. 3 days a week? Nah, I can't afford that. I will need 1,500 a week to be able to get that kind of treatment. But that's in Papua New Guinea. At the hospital, me talk nona, you're the journalist. Maybe you could probe it. The hospital at 3 Mile, it's more expensive. For a day full treatment, it will cost 650, I think. Why is that so expensive? And the people that are dying, I've been up in the hospital at Misiliplong. Now, on man, you will die. But you look long up, find out. Should it be that way? Shouldn't the government be subsidizing it? You know, those are questions that need to be answered.
If you could dedicate one Barike song to Papua New Guinea at 50, which one would it be and why?
Again, the only song that I could think of is Wan Kantri. And it will be good for people, even ordinary people. But you look good long, or talk is up inside long. It may not have been complete song because it picked only a few sunflower places along Papua New Guinea. Maybe expand on it to cover the rest of Papua New Guinea and by all right. We could do it. I mean, we may still work on it with Anselm. He worked long, talk long him before the independence, but we'll see how we go. But that's the song that we want to give back to Papua New Guinea. We have given it under an agreement with New Guinea. And only Woklo use him long. Or commercials long all, I suppose. But that's a song that should continue to make Papua New Guinea one nation, one country, one people.
Thank you.
Thank you.